That was my gavel.
Ready? Kim, you ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
All right.
Hello, welcome everybody to the August 25th, 2025 Public Safety Committee meeting. It's 4 o'clock. Is that the official time? Okay, perfect. All right, first thing we'll do is roll call.
Counselor Holzapfel.
Here.
Counselor Briggs.
Here.
Counselor Blosser.
Here.
Counselor Barrientos.
Yeah.
Counselor Jantz.
All right, next on the agenda is to approve the June 23rd, 2025 meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sir, in the second by Holzapfel. Got it. Perfect. All right, any comments or anything on that? No? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes, how many others? 5-0. I always have to count, sorry. All right, next on the agenda is city manager update. Brian.
Thanks, Chair Jantz. So just a quick couple things on the public safety side. We're continuing to work on the police station project. We have put out a request for proposals for a general contractor, CMGC, general contractor project manager or something like that, construction manager. Yeah, construction manager.
Something like that.
And so whatever the acronym stands for. So we put that out for them just to work on the value engineering stage with an ability in the future, however the city decides to move forward, if the project does move forward, for them to kind of have that contract extended if we so choose that route. So that was out. It's in the public space right now. We have a lot of people that are on the plan holders list, which is a good sign that people are interested in the project and reviewing that. We're getting a couple questions. The bid date on that ends on September 11th, which is a federal mail holiday, so we might bump that out one day just to make sure we get all the bids in to September 12th. But that will give us plenty of time to get the work completed. Hopefully by the end of November is our tentative schedule, and have that back to the council for, so you'll know what the value engineered project is for that. So that's one piece. The other piece is, if you recall, we applied for a community green infrastructure grant for this project, looking at the stormwater catchment on the roof, as well as the planter boxes and the street trees in the sidewalk area out front. Because of a misunderstanding of one of the questions, our application before got kicked out, albeit it was a very good application. The grant review committee and administrator for the grant program thought we had a very competitive project. That grant program reopened with some remaining funds, and we're being encouraged to reapply for that. So we will do that. We will get the correct answers to all the questions this time. We applied last time for a $500,000 grant. That's still the maximum award, so we will do the same for that project. So, and we will know of the awards well before the any future election question goes out to the citizens. The match would be the proceeds from any, however we fund the building. So it would be a $500,000 award. There is match requirement, but that would be fulfilled with however we funded the project. So those are my updates on the public safety building that we're looking at continuing to pursue, in the conversations that have been had and the work we've done. So that's where we are. Any questions on that?
All right, next on the agenda is fire department update.
Afternoon. Give you an update on what is going on in the fire and EMS department. We are still currently down one position. We'll be looking at starting a recruitment for a firefighter paramedic in September. So at this point, it leaves us with 15 full-time firefighter paramedic EMTs. Plus, we have one of our full-time employees is currently going through an internship for his paramedic program and should be certified as a paramedic within the next month. We have 19 part-time firefighter, paramedics, EMTs, and we have the 2 OSFM grant-funded positions. We have those positions until October 31st, or when the funding runs out. We were granted $35,000 through OSFM for the summer staffing grant. We currently have 6 volunteer firefighter candidates. They went through interviews last week. They'll be scheduling ride-alongs. All 6 of them look very strong candidates for our program. We'll be starting an academy for them in October, which will run through the end of December. So in total, in the first year, these 6 will put in a little over 210 hours of volunteer time through our Recruit Academy. We will be possibly losing, well, 1 for sure, possibly 2 of our chaplains by the end of this year. One of our chaplains has made a career change and will be starting the nursing program. And then the other one, I think, just wants to enjoy retirement. So I've been working with our chaplain captain on some options for recruiting, and then potentially connecting with Polk County Fire District's chaplains. They have fire police chaplains as well. So that'll be something we'll be working on in the next couple of months. And just so you know, our chaplains provide a service for us when it comes to CPR events, death notifications. If we have families that are affected by a house fire, they help facilitate the Red Cross, or they're able to connect with other volunteer organizations to help get people housing or funding when they're affected by a house. They have to be out of their house for any period of time. We currently have 4 of our staff members out on deployment at the Flat Fire, which is burning between Sisters and Lake Billy Chinook. They left on Friday. It's possible for them to be gone for the entire duration of their deployment commitment, which could be up to 21 days. Right now, this fire is at 21,000 acres and it's only 5% contained. If you have the ability to add an app to your phone, I would suggest you add Watch Duty. It will give you an overview of fires that are burning pretty much everywhere in the United States, but you'll be able to see what fires we have here in Oregon as well. Kim Storms and I went to Washington last Monday to pick up our new transfer ambulance. The unit will also be able to double as a 3rd out ambulance if needed. Currently, it's getting its graphics put on it, and we're hoping to have it in service by October 1st. If everything goes according to plan, it might be sooner, but we also have to have it licensed through DMV and also OHA. And then just to give you an overview of how busy we've been, as of this morning, we've handled 3,611 calls for service, and that's a combined between fire and EMS. And our interfacility transfers from that are 834. And then another app that you could add to your phone if you currently don't have it would be PulsePoint. There's our organization, Southwest Polk, and also Polk County Fire District number 1, subscribe to that. And then over the next couple of weeks, you'll see us doing a push for advertising for our FireMed program. We're going to really start getting people to focus on online enrollment versus the paper enrollment. So we'll be pushing out some advertisement for that through the paper. There'll be a banner, and then in our mailer that we do for our monthly newsletter. So that is the update for Fire and EMS. Thank you. All right, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the Police Department update and traffic safety report. Is that you?
Jerry Ma, I'm your chief of police. I know you all know that, but I always start the same way. So we'll start with our staffing update. We currently have 1 officer who is out or continues to be out as a result of a work-related injury. Our interview process to backfill second command position should conclude August 27th. We have 2 candidates remaining in that process. One is an internal candidate and one is an external candidate. If the internal candidate prevails in that process, they should be able to start the job in September. If it's the external, required by the state to do a psychological evaluation, a full background, and a medical physical. They'll also need to do some kind of field training process where they learn the basics of the way our patrol division works before they could start that job. So there'd be some delay in that person starting to actively be a second command. Our fleet status, we continue to have fuel system issues with the Dodge Durangos. They're not meeting reliability expectations, so we do not intend to buy any more of those. We have a 2018 Ford that has a low compression and a couple cylinders. We expect that engine to go and that vehicle to drop out of service, but we know from talking to our mechanics that we can continue to wring the life out of that engine. It's not going to cost any more to just let it critically fail. It's not going to be the engine's probably not going to blow up from that. It's just going to lose power over time until it's no longer effective. Then we'll take it offline. We are hoping to purchase a pickup, pursuit-rated pickup for our next patrol vehicle, depending on what the costing looks like compared to an SUV. And the reason we're looking at that is so we have capability of pulling our command trailers and generator, fuel trailer within our own fleet in the police department. So. My personal pickup usually. So, and that's not something that's gonna be there forever, so. We'll move on to traffic stats. July 25 saw a 26% increase in stops over July 24, but a reduction in citations. We're encouraging folks to make a more volume of stops, to make more contacts, disrupt crime, and educate folks on traffic laws. So I do not expect citations to climb with a climb in stops. I hope that they're not climbing as rapidly as stops, because I don't want our folks out there taxing citizens. I want them making contacts and educating folks. A lot of that I think is attributed, or I know is attributed, to the new 4-way stop at Miller and Lockrell. We're doing a lot of education there to get folks used to that 4-way stop. And towards the end of the month and this month, we're going to see a lot of stops associated with the detours. A lot of effort is being spent there to try to get people to slow down and stop for stop signs, which seems to be the biggest challenge people are having in those. Yeah, so that's what I have.
Question about school starting. You get a plan to have visibility in the schools. I'm sure you do, but can we hear about that?
We have a school resource officer who'll be in the schools. We've had that for a couple of years now. It's been a successful program. And our traffic safety officer concentrates a lot of effort around the schools. Last year, one of the schools at Whitworth actually noticed him, and they put up a changing banner in their window every month or two, kind of communicating with them. So, but we do have a lot of visibility when school starts. And we have a lot of traffic pattern problems on Miller and Levens as well, Levens, Ellendale area when school starts, until the parents kind of get the hang of drop off. I'm thinking that 4-way stop will actually help with that a lot down in Miller and Lockrell.
What's the intersection of Lyle going to look like when school starts? Is it
So, yeah, we'll have
elementary?
a Public Works Committee meeting in a minute, but I'll talk about it, kind of tee up Jake to kind of finish the conversation there. So that intersection is just wrapping up construction now. All the curbs, gutters, and sidewalks are installed. So you have the intersections kind of skinning up a little bit. Instead of having yield lanes, you're now going to have right turn lanes, both going northbound on Levens and eastbound on Ellendale. You'll still have the left turn lane and the straight lane going westbound on Ellendale. And so, but it'll be a 3-way stop controlled intersection until we get the lights delivered. So we're waiting just on some parts, the stands, the arms, and the lights themselves. So once those get delivered, then the contractor will come back out and install those. That'll be, a short duration project when that happens. But everything in anticipation of those lights is getting done. So all the electrical components, everything else is in the ground, ready to go. So in the interim, you'll have just back to a three-way stop as it's been before without the yield lanes. So people won't be able to kind of roll through if they're turning right onto Levens or onto Ellendale, but they will have to come to a complete stop and then make the turn. So that's the primary change.
The detour up Hillcrest and over that won't be in play.
That will all be resolved by the end of the week.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Safety? All right, then meeting adjourned at 4:15.
Hey, good afternoon. It's 4:15, and we'll commence a Public Works Committee meeting. Kim, can we stipulate to the roll call that earlier? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the June 23rd, 2025 meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Say yes.
Yes.
And the chair says yes as well, so it's approved 5-0. So I'll turn the meeting over to Brian. Are you going to talk about the water line update?
So I'm gonna invite our Assistant Public Works Director, Jake Dyer, to come up, and he'll address kind of the remaining two topics on the agenda. So, yeah, we have a water line update as well as just our projects update for Public Works. So, thank you, Jake.
Yep, you betcha. Good afternoon. Like Brian mentioned, my name is Jake Dyer. I'm the Assistant Public Works Director and also still acting as the Water Supervisor until we get that position filled. I apologize. I'll be kind of reading some of these construction updates on the projects that we have going on that Michael Pierce provided towards the end of last week. I haven't been terribly involved with a lot of these projects, but I may be able to answer any questions you have. So starting with Phase 5 street rehab and ADA improvements, it's under construction and on schedule. The repaving of Southeast Mason Street and Holman have been completed. Gelco's working on finishing up the construction for the Dallas High School area before school starts and moving on to improvements at EBC. House Street paving is scheduled for the second week of September, and after construction is complete at EBC, Gelco will move back to Southeast Ash Street for the ADA improvements on the north side of Ash Street. Moving on to the La Creole node sanitary sewer installation. That project is under construction and on schedule to be completed on schedule. The Pacific excavation is nearing the end of the Ellendale portion of the project. The detour will remain until the first day of school for repaving. Construction on Southeast Hawthorne will continue through September, which will include repaving from Ellendale to the far south end. The Douglas Street Waterline main replacement project is on schedule as well. All the tests for that new water line have passed, and the contractor is working on tying over all the service lines to each home up Douglas to buyers there. They should be complete with the service lines today. They'll move on to tying over the 3 hydrants tomorrow, and we should have that all tied in by the end of the week and focus on opening the street back up. 11's Ellendale intersection, briefly talked about that. Pacific North's working hard to meet the first day of school deadline, and they're doing a good job. You may have noticed the detour up around Hillcrest there. That will remain through this week. Grinding is scheduled to begin this week as well, and paving will quickly follow. As Brian mentioned, the stop signs will be put back in place until the traffic lights are ready to be installed. The ODOT ADA ramp project will be starting likely this week. That's an ODOT project, but the city has some involvement with helping out with some of our improvements with the catch basins and storm system and that's it. Well, the first phase was mostly on Fairview. It's ODOT project. They had Carter Construction doing the first phase, and they have a different contractor doing this one. So I don't know which all intersections they'll be working on, but I know Lockreal and Ellendale is one of them. I think there's a couple others on Fairview, and maybe Main Street as well.
That's all the ADA ramps on ODOT facilities in town. So East Ellendale, Main Street and Jefferson, Washington, Kings Valley Highway, going both north and south out of town. All the intersections there that will have ADA ramps installed. So several of them got done this last summer. It's going to continue this year through next summer.
So that's an ODOT project, but we've been trying to work with them to help make life easier for everybody, so. Last on the list here is the John Barnard Memorial Park out there on Academy in Fairview. The playground equipment's on site. They'll be starting installing the playground equipment next week, which would be this week. Classic Design and Construction believes in keeping it local and has hired EvCor to design and fabricate the shelter area that is currently under construction. In the upcoming weeks, you will notice significant improvements to the park. So that's the update on some of the construction projects we have in town. I was asked to talk about some of the water main breaks we've had the last 3 or 4 weeks or so. I usually say we typically have around 6 water main breaks a year, and we've had 3 in the last 3 weeks, so hopefully we're kind of getting them out of the way here. This time of year, we see more service lines and water lines breaking, which I kind of attribute to the ground drying up and stuff shifting and causing those breaks. The first one we had was up on Brentwood and Laylac. So all 3 of these main breaks, we had to actually cut out sections of pipe. Most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, a main break is a crack that we can put a repair clamp on. And in that case, we always try to not depressurize the pipe so we don't take customers out of service. We get in there with it blowing and we get all wet and take care of it while it's live. But these 3, we actually had to shut down sections of main to cut out a section and make the repair. So the first one on Brentwood and Laylac, and all 3 of these happen towards the middle of the night, which we can never know when the emergencies are going to happen, but usually it tends to happen in the middle of the night. So, so the one on Brentwood and Laylac, like I said, we did have to shut down several blocks. The second main break we had these last few weeks was on Court Street between Levens and Hayter. I'd like to thank the fire department and the police department for helping with road closures, and that one was a pretty significant break that flooded out the First Presbyterian Church there on Levin Street. The fire folks and police folks were down there with squeegees and helping the church try to minimize the damages there. That one took us just about all night long to fix. Again, we had to cut out a section, and there was, I think, just a block of services shut down for several hours. It was in the middle of the night, so probably not a whole lot lost there. But Uglow Street, a couple days later, we had a pretty significant break just south of Jiffy Lube on the east side of the road. This main break was right under power service, as well as a phone ped, a pretty big phone ped box, and they fell kind of down in the hole. So we throttled the main down and kind of stepped back and waited for the power company to come. We didn't want, safety of our crews number one, but there wasn't any significant loss there really. We did have to shut down a couple blocks of services in order to make that repair. But so yeah, we got our 3 big ones hopefully out of the way here for the summer.
For the cost of that, is that by our insurance company, or do we pay for it ourselves? Or?
Any damage to property that's caused by water main breaks? Yeah, so the cost of repairing a water main break is just, it's a city maintenance, repair cost. So that's built into our budget, and we'll repair and replace those. We, bring in the parts, materials, whatever we need to do that. So that's just absorbed in our budget. Any claims against the city for property damage is run through our insurance company. And so in this case, First Presbyterian reached out to us. We gave them the claim form. They filled it out and resubmitted it. So it's just with insurance now.
That was the only damage that was.
Yep, that was the only damage. The main break on both Lilac and on Uglo, the breaks were in the street and didn't, the stormwater system took care of any of the water that was coming out. So there was no property damage in those cases.
Does anybody from the city reach out to the church and say, how are you being handled, or is everything fine, or
So
make sure that they're not getting stiffed by our insurance company?
yeah, for sure. So, that runs through our risk management and, our risk manager with the city, which is our assistant city manager. So she's in communication with them, making sure that one, that the claim is resolved, and that the church is made whole with any, damage that's caused by us. So.
Yeah, and I guess I'll add that our reservoir as of last Wednesday, Mercer Reservoir was at 56.7 feet. Not quite as good as an average year, but I'm not panicking or losing sleep quite yet, so. 61 feet is the spillway and 64 feet is with our flashboards and our summer storage. So 56.7 as of last Wednesday. But the reservoir is bowl shaped. The lower we get, the faster it drops, so. And we're still seeing pretty high demand at the treatment plant. We're pumping 4.8 million gallons a day. Today, our winter flows are right around 2 million gallons a day, so.
For a wet September and a wet October. That'll really help.
I got a follow-up question for the Levens interchange. Initially, the plan called for lights at the crosswalks at Hillcrest and Rainbow. Is it the intent to do that when they do the lights, or?
So I believe the flashing beacon crosswalk is only at Rainbow. I don't think there's a flashing beacon at Hillcrest. And so, but I don't know the answer to that question, if it's going to be done by the end of this week, or if that's going to be installed at the time the lights come in. I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. But I will say that it is on schedule. Coming into work today, I saw they're ripping up all the asphalt, and it was all being shot, through their machines into the dump trucks. And so they're on schedule. They know that school starts next week, and they want to make sure that they're out of there and the project's in a shape that all the cars can drive on it and function just like they have been in the past. So. All right. Any other questions for us? All right.
I just wanted to say, great job on the summer construction projects. I know you guys had a really big punch list, and it looks like everything's on track. On top of everything else, we hired a new public works director. Everybody kind of was wearing multiple hats. You are, in charge of many projects, so good job on that. And on top of that, you guys all came together on a high-risk, low-frequency event with a water line thing going on, and no one skipped a beat. Everybody kind of worked together well. So in the fall, do you have any projects in the fall that you can share with us, or is it just going to be kind of like a punch list of what you normally do in the fall?
Yeah, we do have some projects, and some of them will be continuing on through spring. But we have a filter media replacement project at the water treatment plant. That one, the contractor can't start until October 1st. That's kind of based on our demand at the plant. So flows will drop down a little bit, and we can take one filter offline at a time. And that project is designed to give us 20 to 30% more capacity at the plant. So midsummer, when flows are high, it'll give us some breathing room there. And we do have a couple other projects. The Ash Street water line, Phase 2 is under design, and that should go out to bid this fall and hopefully be constructed this time next year, or I guess start of the fiscal year. We do have a couple others. Let's see, they'll be working on the Phase 2 of the Lock Rail Sewer Node. I believe that'll be probably in design and going out to bid this fall as well. What am I missing?
So building a new public works building, so that's
Public Works
that's
building.
continuing as we go, so.
Yep.
Have we gotten the okay yet from the state to do the study for the proposed second
Yeah, so
reservoir?
I'll talk about that. So the latest on the reservoir and the impoundment storage permit that we have is we need to do a biological study, which was an ORWD requirement, Oregon Water Resources Department requirement. And so we had to do that during kind of the lowest of low flows in the summertime. I haven't checked to see if we've gotten the green light on that. I assume that, Jake, do you know if they've started that work yet?
Next month, they'll be wrapping it up, in September.
So it's getting underway and it's gonna be wrapped up next month. And then we've been told that that'll be a fast-tracked review when it gets to the state, which we asked, what does that mean? And they said a few weeks. So we're hoping that they're honest on that, and that will get through that process pretty quickly. Then we need to continue to have a conversation with the county and the Water Resources Department on the land use aspects of that. There's some odd timing requirements with what the Water Resources Department wants and what the county is willing and able to do and what the city is able to do. So we just need to resolve that, and those, that should just be a conversation. It shouldn't require any additional work. And so those are the last two parts before we can get provisional approval, which is then reviewed by anyone in the state that wants to maybe challenge it or contest it before they get final approval of that permit. So we're nearing the finish line.
Any other questions? No? If no other questions, time now is 4:37 PM, and this meeting is adjourned.
Jake.